did that fucking come from? I hate it.
Take a picture of Jake.
I hate it.
Jake hates wearing, like, the idea of masks,
I don't
too.
like seeing masks. I don't mind wearing a mask.
I hate it.
It's really upsetting with all the beard coming out, too.
I just think it makes it more convincing.
This is like a legit Venetian mask, though. My mother brought it back from Italy.
It's
Nice.
great. She should have fucking
nice
left
leather.
it there. We should burn it as soon as we're done with this episode.
No, it sounds expensive. All right,
It's
silence.
covered cat hair, too, which is really irritating me.
It looks good.
My plan to wear this the whole episode is not shaping up quite.
Thank God.
How well can you breathe, Jake?
I can breathe just fine.
It's not
Just
tight
smells
enough.
like cat hair.
It's just cat hair in my eyeballs, up my nostrils, and in my mouth.
So nothing unusual, then.
So for our listeners that can't see, I'm sorry. I am wearing a mask right now.
There's a photo. I'll
There's
be
a
sure to
photo.
share
Are
it.
you Corgano?
Put it on the book of the face.
Is that the name?
Oregano
Nah.
and moussaka.
I am all masked up and ready to go. So Chris, what are we doing this week?
Well, I haven't even introduced.
Fuck you. Do it.
Guten Tag und willkommen zu Ein Star to Steer Her By. And that's the extent of the German I can do here. This is Chris, and joining me as always are...
I bet you know some more German.
Yeah, but I don't know a star to
I
steer
bet
her
you
by.
know some German words.
Anyway, this is Frau Ames.
This is Caitlin, yeah.
This is Herr Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob.
I sprechen Sie Deutsch.
Why? Why is this a thing we're doing?
You know,
I don't know.
honestly,
I
it's
thought we were
because
embracing the mask thing.
you know who's probably really into creepy masks
Germans.
during sex and always?
I just meant in general.
Yeah,
but-
exactly.
Yeah.
Probably the Germans.
So, this
No
is
offense, Germans. Sorry.
episode 137.
Woo woo!
Oder 137. Today we'll be looking at Masks and Eye of the Beholder.
Which one is worse, though?
Masks.
Disagree.
That's
Really?
both an answer and the first episode we'll be discussing today.
Masks, which was a steaming pile, starts off with the Enterprise finds a big old ice comet. They shoot it and find a building inside. The building uses space magic, or remote replicators, to begin to turn the Enterprise into vaguely racist Mesoamerican themed crap.
Just
Racist?
vaguely racist?
Let's see what would you like.
Why? I don't understand.
Because they were just clearly just taking, like, Mesoamerican designs, saying, look, it's alien! And they had, like, the pan flutes and the music. And
Yeah,
like,
the music, at one point I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
it was
no, it
no,
was-
oh god, what was it we were watching the other day? Oh god, Doug.
Yeah, Doug
Anyway.
all racist.
I don't see how that's racist.
Because it's just, like...
Because it's just mishmashing a bunch of different, like, cultures together, sort of.
And
in a
saying it's
vague way,
aliens.
and being like, oh yeah,
I
it's this.
still don't understand.
It's actually Florentine leather.
Oh. It's just sort of appropriative. Plus, it's just something else I can levy against this episode, which was trash. So Mr. Data gets infected and gets a bunch of alien personalities and is like, oh no, Masaka is coming. And Masaka's like a goddess of death.
The sun.
Yes, and the sun. And Picard archaeologies at the problem and is like, well, there's this moon symbol too. And he talks to some of the personalities and basically works out that they trade places like the sun and the moon and whatnot. And now Caitlin is trying to wear the mask, but it's far too big for her.
Well, I mean, it has a tie.
Yes, and you didn't tie it tight enough.
Well, I didn't.
It's still tied to my head
Because I
size.
didn't want to untie it, but.
Anyway, at the end, Data is fully possessed by Masaka.
A total eclipse of the heart.
And
But Masaka turns out to be kind of a chicken. A chicken Masaka, if you will.
Is it chicken tiki masaka?
So Picard puts on a mask and is like, hey, Masaka, it's me, Corgano. Don't you want to, like, hunt me for a while instead? And
Doesn't
Masaka's
Corgano
like,
sound like an Italian dude?
yeah, kind of.
It's a me, a Corgano.
It's a style of sandwich.
Yeah. But it's like, and she's like, yeah, I guess. And everything's fine. Like, it was trash.
Yeah. Data goes back to sleep wakes up and forgets that he's already had lots and lots of people inside of him because that was his origin story.
That was my note. It's like, I had a society. It was like, well, depending on the episode, that's already how you were made, but apparently
it
not
really
in this
is
one.
the town pump.
This fucking episode was fucking trash. This episode was
yeah.
so bad.
Someone had been watching a whole lot of Legends of the Hidden Temple, which apparently is also racist.
You can have this.
Yeah, probably. I never thought about
it
it before.
it's like, Mesoamerican.
Although at least they're not...
Chris's standards.
There's savages that come out and attack you.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
actually is pretty
That's actually
problematic.
more racist than this episode, I would say.
Yeah, because they're at least claiming that's actually the culture, which in a way is even worse.
Yikes.
I don't know what Deanna started this episode doing, but my first note is she's a commander now. Can't she do real work? Oh, right. She was leading that stupid sculpting class.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was her job for some reason.
It's probably
Even though we've seen the teacher before.
It's probably like volunteer work,
Or
everybody has
it's
to put
like
in a few hours.
A special visiting class where she talks about how our subconscious can affect how we
Well, then she comes,
art or
she
something.
comes in and she fat shames Eric's bird.
I thought she said it looked good.
It was a terrible
She was
bird.
like, why are its wings so big? And he's like, because it's my bird.
It's a big bird, bitch.
And then she has to talk about feelings with him because that's all she knows how to do.
Well, it's because she hurt his feelings,
It's
so
a
she
fucking
wanted to make
overweight
sure that
penguin,
it was effective.
bitch. That's what it is.
What's up with your fat ass bird, you little bitch?
And we've seen Data do art very, very successfully, myriad times.
But I think the point was that he's always emulating somebody. He doesn't really. He's not really creative on his own.
Except for that time he was doing his dream ones, right? That was...
Those are still not his own. Those were programmed by his crazy father.
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. That's true.
I mean, I thought his Battle of Hirosh wasn't bad.
No, it was very nice.
We never talked about that when we did that episode, but what was did he actually ever give Worf a painting for his birthday? Because he didn't have the party in the real timeline?
No.
Interesting.
Interesting. Not that interesting.
I have nothing good to say about this episode. The artifacts
Look like
look
styrofoam.
cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially there was that one point where Picard was holding the tower that had appeared in Troy's quarters, and she really wasn't as freaked out by it as she should have been. She was like, "Ooh, I might have a secret admirer." It's like, bitch, someone broke into your room as far as you know. Be more concerned.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, did you put this here?" And everyone's like, "No, none of us did."
None of us like you,
But
Troi.
especially when Picard was holding it later, it's so obviously cheap styrofoam. All I could think of was Kirk and the styrofoam cock in What Are Little Girls Made Of. So that was fun.
Why
It made
isn't
me think of
Troi
that.
more freaked out that somebody
She's used to
broke
this all
into
the
her
time.
apartment?
Because people are always shooting her dick pics and stuff, so she's
Yeah.
kind of fuzzed
But
it
somebody
out.
came into her room
Yep.
and left
A dick pic.
phallic totem on
Yep.
her table.
It was probably Riker. She's
That-
just thinking,
that
Riker's
does
doing this all the
track.
time.
That does track. That sounds like Riker.
But I sure did love when they were all like, "Oh, it's changing the matter in the ship. How's it do?" You have replicators! That's what replicators do.
Yeah, so what I don't understand, though, is is the whole ship made out of replicators? How was it able to do this?
Remotely, with science.
But I can't imagine it could do it without... So, I was trying to understand what was actually happening, and
Good luck.
which was, a futile effort. So, and you guys can jump in on me if this is wrong.
It's wrong.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Go on.
This structure, the thing that was in the comet, originated on some planet millions of years ago.
Yep.
And in this thing is a giant computer database of their cultural mythology.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be like if we built a Bible ship.
Yeah, this was meant to be about the Library of Alexandria.
Except it only contains their mythology. It doesn't contain any useful stuff. It just contains information about our gods.
Well, maybe the gods just
It's
kind
like-
of overpowered the encyclopedia.
Maybe, yeah. But anyway, so
Everything
it's
else kind of gets
yeah.
buried under
So
it.
then it interfaces with the Enterprise through their sensor beam, and then takes over the Enterprise computer and starts trying to create elements from the mythology with the Enterprise computer and with data.
For reasons.
You know what the science consult's rationality is?
Oh, this should be interesting.
It's like an advanced Genesis device that mistakes the ship for a world to put the Genesis on.
Interesting.
But so
It
that was
works.
that part that really confused me though, because I thought it was the ship that was replicating the stuff.
The Enterprise itself?
That it had hijacked like the transporters or the replicators to do that stuff, to do the matter rearranging. But it's the library itself that is rearranging the matter.
I thought they did say it had hijacked the replicators at some point, but yeah.
I just assumed, because I was like, why would
Which
they make
doesn't-
their library built to, maybe it was going to find another planet and recreate it in the image of the, like you say, like a Genesis. Like maybe the intent was to land on a planet somewhere and then convert that planet into the temple of its gods.
It's like a virus. It just
See-
takes over what's already there.
Mm.
If the point of the episode was sort of a mix of like the Library of Alexandria and what you just said about establishing, like that did not come across at all.
No.
It was shit.
Well,
Didn't
would have
someone
been
actually name drop the Library of Alexandria at one point?
If they did, I missed it.
Oh, I
So
thought
they
they
may have.
actually made the subtext.
They-
text
no,
at
they
one
very well
point,
may have.
but I
It's-
couldn't be
No,
mistaken.
that was me just now.
No, I thought I heard. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
It's
but-
possible. I like was pretty quickly off board with this episode, so
Yeah, it's I'd say less like the Library of Alexandria, more like the Iliad or something. You know, it's like some mythic writing.
I don't know enough about the Library of Alexandria.
Well, the library.
Fill me in.
Well,
I feel like
so
they had
first of all, the
everything, didn't
Library of
they?
Alexandria is
fucking overrated. first of all.
honestly though,
I'm
it
just
might
kidding.
There's not a ton of direct evidence to support what the common conception of it is. So basically, the library is supposedly the repository that all the collected knowledge. It was like the Smithsonian of its day.
Of whom?
Of the world. It was in Alexandria, so it probably had a lot of
I'm dubious.
Egyptian stuff.
Does it
probably
have
had
like
a lot of
Chinese, Japanese
no,
stuff?
no. I'm gonna say Mediterranean.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so like Egyptian, African stuff, North African stuff, Greek especially, because Alexandria was a Greek city in Egypt. So that's that type of stuff. So the mythology basically is that the Library of Alexandria had all of this shit in it, and it was the one place, and then it burned to the ground, and you know, everyone's like, oh man, if only the library had survived, we'd be 2,000 years more advanced by now, because we would have had all this. It set our entire civilization back. But that also ignores the fact that there were tons of other cultures that were, Asian cultures, American cultures, Northern European cultures, African cultures, Indian culture, like tons and tons and tons and tons of cultures that were not represented in this library. So it's really kind of like fucking Eurocentric to be like, our entire world is better.
all we lost was some plays and some ancient
we
world
probably-
medicine.
And the other thing is, again, there's no, all we have is like the story of the
Yeah.
library. No one's like, there's no documentation of how many scrolls were in there.
Yeah, how
Like,
big was it?
How big was it? I don't think they know the exact location of it.
Oh.
I think they just know, well, yeah, it was in Alexandria and it burned.
Mhm.
And that's
And it
what
was
we
a big
know. And it was
deal.
like written down by like Plutarch or something, or some ancient history.
Well, we know how reliable those ancient Greek historians were. They didn't just make up stories about there being giant ants living over the mountains. Oh wait.
Yeah. So yeah.
Ice-
So anyway,
Listen, I for one
library-
embrace our new ant overlords.
it's a cool story, but I think it's a little the mythology around the library is a little bit
Overblown.
One-sided.
lot one-sided, maybe a little racist, or at least the outlook on it is a little racist, because it assumes Western culture is the culture, and then it's also more than likely just overblown in what the actual contents of the library were.
Man, a lot of hating on the Library of
I
Alexandria.
mean, I'm sure
today.
it would be a cool thing. I'm sure there'd be a ton of historical artifacts. There's
Yeah,
probably
but
like
there's no proof.
because Alexandria was created by its namesake,
Yeah.
Alexander the Great.
I mean,
So
I think
so there's probably
the thing
some
is-
shit in there from him.
whatever we lost.
Some shit in there from him.
Like, again, aside from maybe some specific, like, journals and works of literature, culturally, we've recovered.
Have we?
We've got computers.
Have you been to a baseball game?
No, baseball's boring as fuck.
Alexander the Great actually invented baseball, and then he set fire to his own library to prevent that knowledge.
What have I done? This sucks. Baseball does suck.
It does. It's so the point of going to a baseball game is not to watch a baseball game.
It's to eat hot dogs.
It's to eat hot dogs and drink with your friends.
I've been saying for ages.
That's correct.
Baseball was invented before even the radio was a thing. It was invented when people had nothing better to do. The fact that it survived this long is nothing short of a miracle. Like, we've got fleshlights now, and television, and I don't know.
I'm sorry, did you just say fleshlights?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of something that's better than watching a baseball game.
Oh yeah, masturbation would be better, yeah.
You can use one at a baseball game.
That is illegal.
Only if you get caught.
I got a little factoid for you about Alexander
about fleshlights
and the Egyptians. So Cleopatra, right?
Coming at you.
Famed Egyptian beauty
Mm-hmm.
who seduced 2 leaders of Rome.
Yep.
Not Egyptian, Greek.
That's right. I think I actually learned that.
She was born in Egypt. She grew up in
I
Egypt.
thought you were gonna say
And in fact,
Class.
she's actually the most Egyptian of the pharaohs that came before her in her dynasty, which is the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was formed by Ptolemy. Who was
Greek.
one of Alexander's generals.
Yeah.
And they were all Greek, and she was actually the first Ptolemaic ruler who actually learned the language of the locals.
That's
all
right.
the other ones only spoke Greek.
No, you're right.
What a
And
bunch
again,
of
this is
twats.
the thing I learned from a video game.
All right, I'm gonna be a jerk because I know we're trying really hard not to talk about masks.
This is what I'm trying. It's just
Because
just not happening.
It's a very very confounding episode.
It's also just terrible.
It's got one thing going for it, and that's that Brent Spiner is a fucking god, literally, and in general, because he's fucking great. And both Chris and Caitlin apparently mentioned in watching this episode, well, at least Brent's having a fun time. The problem was, no, he wasn't. It was fucking hell. They give him this episode right after he puts all this amazing energy into Thine Own Self, which fucking rocked.
It was so good, yeah.
They get after coming home from Thine Own Self. He's like, I did a great job being Jaden was the kid's name.
Jaden, yeah.
Being Jaden and all this stuff. They hand him this script, and he's like, I gotta be fucking 4 other people tomorrow. I can't fucking prep for this. And they're like, you'll be fine. Just figure it out.
Just do the same
Is this a
shitty
true
voice for all of them.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it may not have been literally come in tomorrow with this, but so little prep time to be 4 new people that he never had time to try to establish.
And it was so cartoony and dumb.
Oh,
And
he didn't have time.
super
And
cartoony.
apparently, he requested that they give him time to do another another voice sampling and to redo the voice for the characters
Bless you.
because he didn't have time to do anything. And one of them, I forget which one of the people on staff was trying to go to bat for Brent and be like, yeah, let him redo the voices because he didn't have time to do this shit and he feels really uncomfortable with how it sounds. And instead of doing that, they went and they changed the voice pitch for some of them. The older man became deeper and the young boy became higher.
I wondered what they had done, if they had done something to his voice for that.
Yeah, because it was rough.
Yeah, Brent is still great. I really liked his old man character. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, that one was well done.
But
he looked old. They did a nice job making him look old.
I honestly wonder if this affected his career.
Really?
Because if you were a casting director and you were like, man, I wonder if Brent Spiner has range. I mean, he was great on Star Trek as Data,
And Jaden. And Lore.
And
Sung.
And Sung. And Sung.
and all the people in what's the Western fucking bullshit?
Oh, Fistful of
Fistful
Data.
of
No,
Data.
that was terrible.
That's because he wasn't in it enough.
But
it wasn't even
but
it was a
but I
pinch
wonder
of
if he
Data's.
can do other characters. Well, there was that one episode where he played 4 different characters from some random society's mythology. Let's bring them in.
Oh God.
My nephew does community theater. Let's get him instead.
Yikes.
And thus, Pauly Shore got his first acting job.
Pauly Shore
Ouch.
actually comes from comedy royalty.
No, I know his father owns a club. That's
His
actually
father
how
and
he
mother
got
are both
his first. That's actually the real reason he got it. It was huge nepotism.
Who's
Yes.
Pauly Shore again?
A very middling
The
comedian.
Weasel? He was in Biodome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Biodome. What a fucking... That sure was a movie that came
Yeah.
out.
I did appreciate his cameo in
Is he in
Futurama.
Encino
Wasn't he
Man?
also...
No.
No.
Wasn't he in Goof Troop? Isn't he the
Oh yeah, he's the friend. I
uncredited
think.
friend who
Yeah,
loves Cheese
yeah.
Whiz?
Ooh, Cheese Whiz. He reminded me of Lore a little bit.
Mm,
Yeah,
He was kind of just doing Lore but with a slightly higher voice.
yeah,
But like,
But for all I know, they changed the pitch of the voice.
true.
so these all kind of have like maybe not analogs, but they're reminiscent of Earth mythology. I guess
Yeah.
the point being that in which Picard
Yeah.
fucking drives
Oh my
home
God.
Yeah,
again
again.
and again. Well, in many mythologies, the sun is ever chased by the moon.
What if it's antlers like an animal?
Shut the fuck up, Worf. Shut the fuck up.
Poor Worf.
Yeah, man. Picard fucking dropping knowledge bombs left and right was...
And again, it reminds me a bit of The Chase, where they figure out this whole fucking galactic mystery in an afternoon, and, he figures out this whole mythology. Like, he works out this entire race of people.
Yep.
From how long ago did this say?
85 million years.
87 million years
So-
away.
I messaged Chris while I was watching this, and I was like, they're like, Captain, aren't you concerned that it might not be as easy as you think to just kind of jump in? And I said, no. Did you see how I fucking nailed it in Darmok? Don't worry about it. I got this.
Sweet.
Is it just me, or does every fucking planet have a moon?
Yeah, shit.
Even last week, the planet Jaden was on
Yeah.
had a fucking moon that looked exactly like our
The
moon.
moon, yeah.
Well, it's because our moon is perfect.
Apparently.
It's
Here's an
beautiful.
actual question, though. Like, of planets, what is the likelihood of having a moon? Because I feel like
Actually,
it's...
that's a-
Most
well, no,
other
that's
planets in our solar system have several.
Well, that's a good point, though. It's actually really, really unusual that we have
a big moon.
a big moon.
It's true.
Most planets, a moon is considerably smaller
Yeah.
than...
Except Pluto. Of course, Pluto's a planetoid now.
A
Sorry.
like
dwarf
you would,
planet.
like on most planets, you would
Fucking
probably not be able to see the moon very clearly with
Yeah.
the naked eye.
Huh. I didn't realize that.
Because A, they're very far away, and B, relative to the planet, they're incredibly small.
Yeah.
But
Well-
Earth and the moon are, they're not, but they're close to being a binary system. Like the fact that the moon has so much bearing on Earth,
tides and shit.
tides and tectonic activity.
Menstrual
that's-
cycles.
And that's why they think
You're
the moon
welcome.
was actually, like... I don't know if this is still the main theory, but that when the Earth was still magma, it was struck by something. It spat out a
think, yeah.
blob, and that became the moon.
Yeah,
Or has that been supplanted?
No, that's pretty close. The idea is that basically there was either a rogue planet or another planet in a similar orbit to Earth that was probably Mars-sized or maybe a little smaller, maybe Mercury-sized, that essentially collided with Earth, blasted off most of the crust,
Yeah.
and became the moon.
Which would explain part of it, like, it's roughly spherical because it was like Earth.
Yeah. Well, then
Still
basically,
magma-y,
but
'cause-
basically, the energy that was released in that collision would have reliquefied both bodies pretty much, except for maybe
Yeah.
the core,
Yeah.
and then giant cloud of debris, and then over many years, eons, that debris recoalesced
Yeah.
into the planets.
Yeah. Because that's why, because Mars's moons are just chunks of rock. They're irregularly shaped.
And they're very, very small relative
Yeah.
to Mars.
Like, Jupiter's were probably actually their own planets just caught up in its ridiculous gravity well because it's so big.
Earth actually has other satellites too, natural satellites that are just, not, you wouldn't really probably call them moons because they're like small
Yeah.
bits of matter. They're not even round.
Like Elon Musk's car?
Elon Musk? No, that's, yeah. I think that's a solar satellite, actually. I don't know how that is. But, it's pretty interesting. You know what's kind of cool, a cool planet thing? It is estimated that there are literal tons of Earth on the moons of Jupiter. Because
of
the planet Earth.
Of remnants from this planet
remnants
on Jupiter?
That we call Earth.
Because when planet Earth gets struck by asteroids and other things, it sends up tons of debris.
Huh.
And that debris goes into space, and some of it finds its way to other planets. And just like we have many tons and tons of material we have Mars material, like anything that gets knocked around in the solar system, most of that debris just goes off into the ether, but some of it lands on other planets.
Cool.
I love
It's
space.
very cool.
Space is fucking awesome.
Unlike Masks, which wasn't cool.
Yeah. Have we gotten to the point where we can stop talking about this episode and I can stop bringing up other unrelated things?
Let me see if I have anything. Okay, so here's my question for the end, at the end. Because I was just, either it wasn't clear, shocking, or something else happened, and I just didn't catch it.
Get it, girl.
Did Data experience any of what was going on when he was being possessed by the beings, or does he not remember any of that, like in Thine Own Self?
I think he
Because
might.
it was very unclear.
He liked his mask, and he painted it to look like the mask from the Misaka's mask. So he must have remembered what that looked like.
Or he looked it up in the database.
Well, I think he might have vague memories of it, because he did say to Picard, have I been dreaming again?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that implies there's at least some distant something.
I don't know. But then, they also said, you probably had thousands of consciousness inside of you. Can he recall them?
Yeah, no,
He occasionally, but usually doesn't bother recalling any of the Omicron Thetans? Which we always forget about, which
Until
is sad.
we don't.
Well,
And
every
comes
time
up in a plot, and you're like, oh, we're still doing this? This is dumb, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is one time when
This episode was trash.
this was a trash episode.
Yeah, Empire Magazine lists this as the worst TNG episode if you don't count Shades of Grey, which they don't because it's a clip show.
I mean,
wow, that's...
I'd say it's worse. Here again, I don't count Shades of Grey at all because it was a clip show. As far as I'm concerned, all the bad episodes are worse than Shades of Grey because it's not really an episode.
this might be dumber
Then.
than
Shades of Grey?
Bam.
No.
No, Bem is still worse.
Nothing is dumber than Bem.
I only give this episode a couple extra little nudges up just because I liked seeing Data so much, and he got to.
But if he
do
had
some
detached his lower half and started walking around,
fucking Bem.
Didn't Bem also have a really annoying fucking voice?
He did. Bem still definitely stands as the worst episode of any Star Trek ever.
Yep.
Probably always will.
I bet it will. Well, I haven't seen all of it yet, so.
Ames is I don't know, I really don't like Disco.
No, there's I dislike certain elements of Discovery. As a whole, there's also a lot I really like.
Oh,
Anything
good.
Tig Notaro touches is gold.
You like
Saru's
that?
awesome.
Yeah, you like
Saru
that.
is awesome.
The rest, it's it just shouldn't fucking be a prequel. It'll be fine. I get
Well-
so stuck in wondering what the fuck is going on.
But, Bem...
Bem is awful.
Anyway,
I can't imagine we'd rather talk about Bem than Masks.
We wouldn't.
What a
We're
world.
now going to talk about Eye of the Beholder.
brown eye of the beholder.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Jake! Shut up! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Oh no. And
I rewatched Eye of the Beholder today because I'm so confused what the actual fucking story was. I think I understood a new thing today, and that's that Pierce is dead.
Mhm.
Tell me, Chris,
What I
the
think
fu-
happened?
What
Yeah,
is
what
your
happened,
synopsis of Eye of the Beholder? Because I don't know.
Mansplain it to us, Chris.
Well, actually, so, as far as I can tell, Eye of the Beholder starts with Lieutenant Daniel Kwan killing himself
Whoops.
by
What?
jumping into the plasma stream inside one of the nacelles. We don't know which nacelle, but one of them. It's not important, but I decided to nitpick. They decide...
Actually, no, we do know which one because we saw when the plasma stream was streaming.
Oh, good point. So it's the right one.
Yeah,
Is
the
that
right
port
one.
or starboard?
I don't know which
The
one.
right one.
Well, I was a little confused. Were they looking towards the front of the nacelle, or were they looking towards the back of
They
the
were looking
nacelle?
towards the back.
Really?
You can see when they have the door open, you can kind of see some of the blue glass.
Yeah, but I also, at the end of the hall, it looked like there was, like, what could have been the Bassard collector. The back of the Bassard collector. Because there was, like, a red thing with, like, shit.
Now I'm not sure.
Oh, no.
Anyway, carry on.
I want to say...
Are we actually gonna...
I thought it was the back, too, but that made me rethink it.
I want to say it's the back, and that them venting the plasma was something they could do from there, so that it would happen, so that that
But
plasma
they were
would
in...
at the front.
But then that would put them in the Bassard collector. Which doesn't make any sense, because also, how did they climb up there? The pylon for the nacelle is all the way back here.
Yeah, so they're in the back.
So they were in the back looking at the front, which is what I just said. They had to climb up the side here, and they were looking down this way.
Yeah, I want to say that's right, because I was trying to read the fucking notes on this episode. It's so fucking confusing that I couldn't understand.
So,
super
anywho.
convoluted.
Plus, I don't know which one is starboard and which one is not.
So anyway, Daniel Kwan, whose name I only knew Kwan and I forgot Daniel.
I wrote it from the fucking website.
So Kwan kills himself, and Picard is like, "Oh, I've had to report many a death, but not a suicide. Maybe if we can try to figure out a little bit more information to send the parents." So Worf...
Do we have any detectives? No? Troi and Worf it is.
Worf and Troi are sent to look into it. Before that, though, Worf runs into Riker in 10 Forward, and there's this really awkward conversation where Worf doesn't get around to telling Riker he'd like to, give
Deanna.
Troi the double. And then we go to the nacelle, and reality stops. Because Troi stands where Kwan killed himself. And, we found that Kwan is apparently half some species that's
Napian.
slightly... Napian. They're slightly empathic, and therefore he is a better empath than Troi.
Who isn't?
Yeah, everyone.
Scott's great at it.
True. So, basically what it turns out is some point during the construction of the Enterprise, this guy, Pierce, killed a couple of his co-workers and then committed suicide by...
I think he just died in the same blast?
Well, so I think what happened was he killed them, but then he set off the blast.
Oh, okay.
That killed him and made it look like the other two had died
Honestly,
in
though,
the blast.
we're like dragging this man's name through the mud with very little evidence.
It's the only evidence is his empathic photograph.
Yeah.
Which only
But it
Troi
wasn't.
can
It
tell
wasn't a
us.
photograph of him murdering them.
Here's the thing. We're dragging his name through the mud based on magic, basically.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Ghosts.
His anguish or whatever burned into his cells, which subspace splattered all over the walls, which Kwan let out when he opened this panel that has literally not been opened since the ship was built.
Well, no,
We're basing it on that?
I don't think it was that. I think he was just the first empath to open it.
No, his supervisor actually says, I think that's the first time that panel's been opened since we got into space, or something.
Oh my god, can we
She
talk
did
about
say
her
that.
and her
Did she?
weird-ass
Oh.
fucking vagina face?
So what
And
the fuck?
later.
Why do they have to work up whatever?
Yeah. It's amazing. I didn't know there were staff in a nacelle. It's like, oh. It's
Yeah,
weird.
I thought that was weird too. I was
like
like, what do you
having-
mean you're in the nacelle? But I guess they're huge, right?
They are,
I mean,
yeah.
I guess they would be large.
Anyway.
Basically as thick as the saucer. Well, no,
Yeah, they're
not
pretty big.
quite as thick as the saucer.
But anywho, so he picked up all this latent psychic energy of negativity and shit, and he killed himself. Troi picked up on it and creates this whole fantasy where her and Worf keep doing the investigation.
I assume Kwan also was having that kind of...
He probably had the same thing happen.
And saw his girlfriend, who looks like every other fucking woman in the show.
Yeah, clearly the casting
That
director
was my
had a
other
type.
confusion, was literally every woman character that they showed. That chick, Calloway?
I
Something
thought
like
it
that.
was the
Calloway.
same girl that played What's-Her-Face in What's It Last Week.
Leffler?
Yeah, no, like I said,
No.
clearly the casting
She
director had
also
a
looked
type.
like Darren.
Yeah.
She looked like the chick that actually died. She looked like another
The chick that died, that's the
yeah.
one I meant.
Don't-
Yeah.
She looked like fucking Rizzo or something that Troi brought up on the video screen. I'm like, there she is! No! Apparently I'm face blind. Great.
But yeah, so she has this whole hallucination, and, you know, she thinks Worf's having an affair. She shoots him. She's going to go throw herself into the plasma. And then Worf, who isn't dead, stops her. And it turns out, yeah, like the last 25 minutes of the episode is all an hallucination. And then we get the technobabble explanation of what happened. Excuse me.
The skeleton in the wall was pretty cool.
It was, but it wasn't real, sadly. Oh, that's what I was going to say.
They used real human bones.
What?
They used in Medbay. They used human bones they bought from India. They smashed open the skull because the bones weren't small enough.
That's fucking horrifying.
I don't know how you get into the bone selling racket, but apparently it's a thing.
And I can imagine that, you know, the production company must have some bones in storage.
Just fucking get some plaster and make it into lumps. No one's gonna know.
Or they were when they were in the medbay, they were unrecognizable as human. You could use fucking dog bones.
Yeah, plaster.
Not
Literally
dog bones.
Plaster.
But human bones are better.
Yeah, it's way better
like dog
than
biscuits.
That'd be great.
Milk bones.
All we found were these milk bones in the wall.
And Jake, what I was going to say to you earlier, though, we're not just dragging his name through the mud because of stupid technobabble. We're also dragging his name through the mud because did you see the man?
He did have an evil face.
Troi kept calling him a redhead, and I got more confused because he's not a redhead.
No, the redhead was Ensign Conan O'Brien. There was that one moment where Kwan's old supervisor, has to go to a different room.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
the guy that comes to see her has an enormous red pompadour.
Nice.
And it's like, holy shit, you are not Conan O'Brien. For a split second, I thought you had a cameo, because it was the same hair.
That would have been
same
amazing.
Aggressively orange hair, same huge swoop.
Nice.
But also, I got a wicked, Buffalo Bill vibe off of him.
Yeah.
I could see him tucking and going, would you fuck me?
Yeah, I could see
he
Not when
He
he
looked a
says
little-
that.
He looked a little like Putin.
Did
Or
he?
that. Either way, he looks evil.
Well,
it puts the lotion in the warp nacelle.
Did you recognize him? He was was in
The guy who played
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, that's right. He was
he
the rapist in Shawshank.
Yeah,
Yikes.
he was one of the sisters.
Yeah.
Who was like, "I'm gonna put my dick in your mouth," and Andy was like, "I'm gonna bite it off," basically.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then he gets the shit kicked out of him, so it's a little sad.
He gets,
I don't know.
beat
Paralyzed.
not just that, beat. My impression of that movie was that he was beat into vegetative state.
Yeah, actually, that might be true. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, that would track.
So, we did in fact get one more
Ooh.
mention of the warp speed limit in this episode.
I saw that.
I thought that too. I was like, "Ha!" They said we were never going to hear about it
We've
again.
heard it twice now.
That whole thing, that medical supply thing, that doesn't even qualify as a D plot because it was mentioned.
I kept waiting for that to be something, and it just
nothing.
It was just so that Worf would be
hang
spending
out with
time
that girl.
with medical broad. Yeah.
Well, also, you have to also consider that most of the episode takes place in Deanna's
head.
brain in 5 seconds that
Yep.
passes during the actual time, which is another thing that fucking confused me. This episode was way too confusing for me, and apparently was also confusing to the fucking actors
And the writers, because they fucked some shit up.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Oh, really?
But how does Deanna, in her hallucination, go to figure out the names of all the people? She goes to her computer and she's looking through names and names and names, and she finds Pierce and she finds these other people. I'm like, how do you do that from an empathic photograph?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, unless she had already looked up those names before and it was in her subconscious, but why would that have happened?
Yeah, I was thinking it would just be her subconscious somehow.
Yeah, no, that didn't make sense. The other thing that they fucked up or maybe not a fuck up, just a completely unnecessary detail, was that it was revealed before her hallucination that Kwan worked there at Utopia Planitia.
Yeah.
Well, that was a red herring.
Which was a total red herring and totally unnecessary and totally confused it even more because he wasn't there for the murders or the deaths.
Yeah, he was there months after.
He was there
that
months
already
afterward,
happened.
and apparently has worked in that room off and on for 8 years and never had a psychic experience until now.
Well, it's because he then had
opened the
panel.
door. He didn't open. Yeah, once you open that door,
that door was sealing off the psychic energy.
That's the Ark of the Covenant right there, man. That's like some Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah.
Don't look at it.
Don't look at it. That's the theme this week.
Yeah.
Also, it means Deanna and Worf didn't pork, which is
Which
disappointing.
made me so upset.
But it also, like, so that's another thing.
No, dude,
I kind of wondered about that, right? Because Worf was feeling it for her, wanted to stick it in, went to
Them.
Stick them in.
Stick them in.
More
yes.
importantly, in her mind, were they on top of each other or astride?
Mm.
Just asking. Go on, Jake.
So he goes to Riker to ask leave of him, but chickens out because he's a.
And that was in the real world. Because
Yeah.
That was in the real
before
world.
Actually,
We went back to check that.
My note on
We
that
did too.
is at least Frakes, probably Dorn too. I don't know. Didn't realize that this was an actual real world scene. They thought it was part of the hallucination, which is why, right, like Jonathan Frakes says that he was like acting not entirely realistically.
Well, yeah, because the reason we checked that because it's like, why would Deanna hallucinate a scene that she wasn't in?
Yeah, 'cause that's what I thought too. But,
But yeah, no, it was before the. But
I
I wonder.
did not
I wonder
check,
if they.
but I asked you. I was like,
wonder
that was
if
real, though.
I wonder if they recut it when they realized, like, wait a minute, she wouldn't be hallucinating Worf and Riker having a conversation.
The thing is, Riker's acting strike me as strange because, like, yeah, this is Riker in.
Well, he's wearing. Did you see his pimp coat? It was
Oh my
great.
god, his shirt was terrible.
He
Did
was-
you love it? I apologize.
No, it was
great. That's what I meant.
It was great in the way that it was a pimp coat.
He was in trying to get laid
Yeah.
mode, which is what I just wrote off as anything that seemed off. It's like, yeah, I'm Riker. I'm working my groove.
Whatever drink he ordered sounded good.
But anyway, but aside from that, I was wondering if Deanna was empathically picking up on
Worf's interests.
Worf's attraction, and that's why that was an element in her.
That makes sense to
hallucination.
me.
I like that.
follow that.
Because I don't think
Because he was
she's-
right there.
and she's never shown any interest in Worf.
Well, but they haven't had that champagne dinner already.
Yeah, but it sounds like he chickened out of anything going
After that,
anywhere.
yeah.
But yeah, it definitely seemed to me like it's an interesting thing. So they had the Worf episode, the parallels where Worf has not an imaginary experience, but a alternate universe experience
Yeah.
where he decides he loves Troi. And then in this episode, she has, for all intents and purposes, an alternate universe experience where she falls in love with Worf. So now they both have this experience where they were into each other.
Yeah.
So,
You know what I was wondering
Interesting.
watching this episode is, what if? Because I'm not sure I'm on Team Worf Deanna. It's not doing it for me just yet. It may not.
I don't think it. I think it's
I just
too
kept
quick.
wondering, what if it were Riker in all these scenes instead of Worf? And I just knew that there'd be that much more smirking.
Yeah. No, I think no.
It's just like when you look at, I just don't see them as being compatible.
Troi
Worf
and
and Troi
Worf.
as being very compatible. Maybe it's an opposites attract kind of thing, but like, I mean, Kilar was obviously
Oh, yeah.
Worf's, type.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but except that she hurt him, like, really badly.
Well, she hurt him, but like,
Well, because he was Catholic and she was having none of it.
Well, but also, like, was she only his type because he was like, fuck, now we need to get married?
no, I
because...
think she was like a badass, and
Yeah, no, because
like that.
they'd worked together previously, and there was clearly a lot of like.
Yeah.
and Worf
Tension.
has other romantic interests in the future
Yeah, I know.
that make more sense to me.
I guess, like, my thing is just that just because he had a relationship with someone else when he was younger doesn't mean it was the right choice. Or that was the right type of relationship for him.
True.
I don't know.
True.
Again,
I
especially
don't know, yeah.
because obviously she was more like open relationship, polyamorous. I want to just have fun, and this is just, sex and
Maybe
whatever.
maybe right now he just wants someone who can be Alexander's mom.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he liked that aspect to us. They're like, oh, she can take care of the kid.
Fucking take him off my plate, yes,
She
please.
can be his, what was my stepsister.
I don't think I'm so much necessarily team Worf Deanna, just team can we stop with Riker Troi for a while.
Now, have you guys said that they kind of start putting that back in during the movies, that they're kind of on again?
Yes, that happens.
Well, we'll get there in very few weeks now.
I know,
Yeah,
it's
not too
crazy.
long.
We're getting there.
It's nuts.
I remember thinking that like 7 seasons seemed like so much, and it's just
6 seasons in
pissing
movie.
on by.
Okay, so
So
the people that work in the fucking warp nacelle for some reason.
Yeah, what a terrible job. It's also where they hide.
He seemed to like it.
Yeah,
They have
idiot.
to work in this little tiny room. It doesn't appear to have any chairs.
You can only get to there through Jeffrey's tube.
You have to climb up a fucking ladder. There's no fucking elevator that goes there. And, yeah. And you can't open the door and look at the cool shit inside the nacelle for more than 90 seconds.
Yeah.
And apparently no one has done that in 8 years.
Yeah.
No, they just
like
haven't opened that other panel.
It just seems like a shit job. And they keep talking about like how...
But he was so excited
so
for
excited
it.
to have that job. It's like, dude, fucking Mott the barber has a better job than this guy.
Never mind the fact that, like, that's got to be one of the first places any enemy ship is going to target. Like,
yeah. How many times... When the fucking Bozeman fucking took it out, it took this poor bastard out. It hit that nacelle.
Yeah, you're right.
They fucking blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's
Poor guy.
It's also where they hide, like, most of the non-human crew, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is like, oh, this is where you hide all the, like, non-humans that aren't Worf.
And when they do a saucer separation, like for an emergency, these people are fucked.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can't take the elevator.
No.
You gotta climb down the ladder.
Beam them out.
Maybe they can do the cool,
Into space.
like, slide down the ladder thing like Kirk did that one time.
Yeah.
How many Geordie rolls does it take?
That's a 4-roll thing. Yeah, definitely.
Operation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it does-
I don't know.
it
That
does-
is a shit job.
It does feel like it should be a punishment job, but it clearly isn't, which is weird.
Yeah, it is a little strange. Plus,
Yeah, and they kind of made the woman that he was working with seem a little sinister.
Yeah,
at the
they
beginning.
definitely were doing, like, a...
It was kind of at that point. It was almost like a murder
Yeah.
vibe coming off of her. Like, oh, she was a little bit envious of him.
She
and-
psychically instructed him to kill himself.
Yeah, like, another red herring.
But what I thought was interesting is that for Quan, his last words were, oh, they were laughing at me.
I know what I must do.
So I'm wondering, like, what is the order of events here? So if we're gonna recreate this murder based on what we've seen, is it this creepy dude walks in on his girlfriend macking with some dude,
Yeah.
or his boyfriend macking with some girl, we don't know.
Yeah. They laugh at him.
They laugh at him, which was really awkward.
Mm.
Maybe his pants were out.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he had a hard on or something when he walked in.
Jesus.
And they thought it was funny. So he throws them into the plasma. He walks them. He's
I
like,
think he might have shot them.
oh, you think he shot
That
them
was sort of the impression I got, too.
and threw them into to
Well, no,
to get rid of the
because he
bodies?
didn't jump into the plasma field. He caused
An explosion, right?
some kind of plasma burst. So that probably, like, they probably had to rebuild that whole section. And that, like, because Worf said that would have covered up the fact that there'd been a murder.
Right, because it basically effectively destroyed all of the evidence.
Oh, I see. I had assumed that he threw them into the beam. But I guess the beam wasn't on at that time, so...
Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
wouldn't have
that's-
been.
yeah.
Yeah, they said something about a plasma burst, so...
Okay.
Okay,
yeah.
so and here's where I get lost because when I rewatched this fucking episode, the whole plasma burst thing that covers up all 3 deaths, so they're not sure what happened to any of the 3 of them, except that they're all dead and fucking vaporized.
Yep.
Is why then does it turn it into this contagious suicide thing? Where
I
it's
think it's
instead of
because-
cause an explosion,
well, 'cause
it's
here's-
jump into the beam. I know what I have
So
to do.
so what was the murderer's name?
Pierce.
Pierce.
So it's kind of implied in the hallucination that Pierce has some psychic ability.
Mm-hmm. Grandmother was from Beta Z.
Is that true?
I don't know. That's in the hallucination.
Yeah, because that is after the hallucination.
That's after the hallucination.
That's during the thing. It's like, oh, his grandmother was Beta Z.
Okay, all right. So that makes a little bit more sense because it could be that he jumped in or he died in the explosion, and that psychic residue was left in the compartment.
Well, that's what they said. It basically fused to what of his matter was left.
Right.
And just left an echo.
Oh, okay. So that's...
which is dumb.
So when somebody else who's empathic...
It's basically haunting. It's basically the room is haunted.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a haunting. So it's technobabble-y haunting. So it
Rodent is back.
only affects someone who's empathic that can pick up on that psychic energy that's
Yes.
in
Yeah,
there.
which is why Quan and Troi
were
the two that
affected and
Right,
drawn
because
into
Quan was
that.
half some other type of...
Nabian.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's some
I just
fucking
like saying
poltergeist
Nabian.
shit where it's like, there was a, you always see fucking shit on like, Discovery Channel or something where it's some fucking jerk off psychic that's like, oh, something bad happened here. Oh
Yeah.
boy, I can feel it. Oh, my
It's
bones.
good guess. You could probably say that about basically any place you've ever been.
Oh yeah, this room. Oh,
Yeah, we're
I don't
in
know.
a 100-year-old house. People died here. I see them every day. Oh boy!
People
In the
died
in the
here.
basement where I left them.
People touched themselves in here.
Yikes.
People did poops.
I'm pretty sure
Many
Jake's
poops.
touching himself right
You
now.
bet. But yeah, so
So
that's
many
what
poops.
I'm thinking happened, and I guess that's explicitly what they say happened.
Mm.
Here's the thing that pissed me off the most about this episode: they make it a big deal for no reason that those little weird solar panel looking things.
Oh yeah, and that goes
were in
nowhere.
there, but they make it a big deal like, no, those weren't here when the ship was built, except when they showed the ship, when they showed that room, when the ship was built, those fucking things were there!
Oh, huh.
They were not in the same spot. They were on that like center console, but they were in there. And I even made note of it mentally when I saw it, because I had originally, when I really saw those things in the room, I'm like, oh, those are funny looking. They look kind of like solar panels. And then when I was like, oh, look, because I like looking at the ship when it's not fitted,
Yeah.
and like there's debris around and stuff. And I was like, oh, look, there's the things. And then Data says, no, those weren't here until, a couple years ago. It's like, fucking shut up. How fucking... Your editor is a fucking moron because he should have cut that line. God damn it!
You know what I didn't care for, other than being confused for 90% of the episode? Data and Geordi have this conversation where Data's trying to understand why someone would kill themselves.
Oh, fucking God
I forgot
damn
about
it!
that.
Yeah, the
Oh,
more...
guys.
The more you know.
Data really wants to know what it's like to be human.
That fucking suicide.
And he tells an analogy which doesn't fucking work, and
Nope.
it reminds me of other analogies that he's had that don't fucking
He was
work.
like, yeah, I almost wiped out my memory
Now-
one time, which was kind of like killing yourself. It's like, nope, it's literally
When I
nothing
love
like
too,
that.
what Jordy says, did you do it? It's like, Gordo, if he did it, he wouldn't have remembered, you stupid fuck.
He could have done it a couple of times. You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It would have restarted.
Fucking Gordo.
Now, I feel like they threw that in there because they're like, oh boy, we have a suicide in this episode. We really should say something about like mental illness and depression.
And boy, did they blow it.
And they blew it. And then they made the episode solution not have anything to do with mental illness or
Nope.
suicide. It had to do with a fucking murder
Ghost.
mystery and a ghost.
Here's
There
a
goes.
question, though. For back in that day, was that a pretty...
No, that was dumb even then, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know.
It was like some fucking Degrassi High shit.
Well,
Yeah.
I know, but think about how much people don't talk about shit now.
Oh, I understand. And I'm like, and if they had made the episode, if the episode had been about, because they have this whole thing with Picard being like, man, I've had to have a lot of people die, but fucking suicide, Jesus. They have this whole thing, and they don't address it. It's never addressed
Not properly.
in the episode, and it's kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't think Star Trek needs like a suicide episode, but if they were gonna do one, they should have done
it right.
and not half did it and then made a ghost story instead.
Quarter
Here's
did
a
it.
question. Do we think that Picard actually tells his parents what they found out in their attempt to
Hope
make them
not.
feel better?
Sorry.
You'll probably never believe this. They actually sue Starfleet because they're like, why are you mocking us in our pain with this ghost story? And they're like, no, that's really what happened. Fuck.
He calls the parents like, your son tragically killed himself, but don't worry, I put my 2 top investigators on it to figure out what happened, and here's what they found out. A fucking ghost. A fucking ghost made him do it.
Do you think...
That's it. That's the theme this week. Fucking ghosts.
Can we just call this episode Fucking Ghosts?
If it wouldn't...
Everyone's
Get
getting possessed
censored,
by fucking
but-
bullshit.
It wouldn't be
Alright, I'm
censored.
sick of this episode. Let's move on to the fun thing.
The fun thing.
Is there a fun thing?
Okay.
We have a fun thing planned.
What's the
All
fun
right,
thing?
so as our fateful audience, as our faithful audience knows, every now and again we like to do a little fun thing where some of these are kind of nested, so just be careful. Where we we stretch our creative boners and we do a fanfic episode. So we are going to do another one now that we're coming to the end of the era,
So
the end of the Next
sad.
Generation. So as before, previously we did a TOS themed one, then we did a Star Wars themed one. Again, we're going to be doing a draw some names out of a hat. But the rules are a little different this time. We're changing it up.
There was a mutiny. We've changed the rules.
We've
A
changed
space
the rules. We've gone full Pegasus here. So this time we have a hat with a bunch of names in it. We also put a bunch of names in written on slips of paper.
Not including the main cast.
Yeah. So these are all side characters, either one-off, one episodes, or they could be recurring characters. But either way, they're not our key core characters. So we're each going to draw 4 names from this hat. And then we're going to pick 2 of those 4.
So if there's a joke one, you can discard
so you don't
the
get
joke
stuck
one.
with Sentient Cloud.
Although the story that grew
Or
out
the
of that
cat.
was...
If Spot is in here, someone's dying.
Jake is just going to continue to be upset
God
about
damn it,
ISIS.
Caitlin. I hope you get Spot.
I mean, I do too. That's why I wrote it down.
Yes!
But I got the cat last time.
You made it work!
I did make it work, barely. So anyway, and then we can include the main cast. The reason we did that is just so we don't want anybody to get,
sole ownership.
Yeah,
of
like,
Picard
I
or
wanted to use
whatever.
Picard in my story, but I can't. I have Q, but I can't use Picard, so what's the point?
That actually would be a big problem.
I don't know. It'd be fun to make him taunt somebody else. Like, see how much he would try to taunt, say, Worf.
Well,
but Worf.
but
would
now
get
you
fucked.
have the freedom to do that of your own volition.
Mm.
So let's start here.
And should we each do 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, or what should we do for drawing?
I don't know. I was gonna say, why don't we draw all 4?
Yeah.
And then pick, and then go to the next person.
Are we telling people what we're picking also?
Yeah.
I think we read them out as we draw them, and
Okay.
then we make. But you can only make the decision for yourself.
Mm.
We can't be like, no, don't be a dick.
No, obviously.
So Chris, why don't you start us off?
Okay.
Get in there and make sure you don't pick up multiple slips.
That's 1. Shit, I think it's one of mine. 2.
Chris made his smaller so he could tell.
I
which
didn't
ones.
So he
realize...
can pick them because he thinks they're the good ones.
I didn't realize that other people weren't doing it the way I was, so...
Well, we didn't really discuss how we were doing
Chris was
it,
in the
so-
other room, not
Fuck,
seeing
I
how
have
we were
2
doing.
of mine.
That's okay.
That's fine.
fine.
They're your own shame. You want to
So
read yours first?
Yeah, why don't you read
Sure.
them off?
Ben the bartender.
Oh,
Nice.
that was
I
from last
remember
week.
him.
That's fun.
He's a good one.
Rasmussen.
Nice.
Oh, is that the guy, the historian, but not a real historian?
Yep.
Nice.
Soren.
Yeah, so I'm glad Soren got drawn.
Who's Soren? Help me.
She was from The Outcast.
Oh, yeah! I love her. Okay.
And Lol.
Whoa.
You're welcome.
All right, pick 2. Make your choice.
Keeping Rasmussen.
Yes, that's very good.
See, I don't know how I could use those 2. Oh, well. Okay. I'm going to keep Lol and Rasmussen.
Whoa.
and Rasmussen.
Nice.
That's an
Oh, that's
interesting-
true. You got a time.
Do they go-
No, you
do
don't.
these-
We're not putting them back. Those are discarded.
Oh, the discards don't go back in the
Yeah,
hat.
they're discarded. So
Okay.
sorry for the ones that didn't get picked.
Oh, Soren, no.
I can't believe you picked LOL. I wrote LOL thinking, that
Some
would
jerk
suck.
off's gonna get stuck with law.
I can make it work, I think.
I'm sure you
All
can.
right, well, you've chosen that. This feels like
Yeah, now you have
2.
to.
That is.
This feels like 2 more.
It is.
Okay.
Nice.
Neither of which are Chris's.
Well, he
Well,
folded
so-
a certain
so let's
way.
see what we got.
What have we got? Oh, I fucked myself. Sela.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It could be brilliant. You don't know.
No,
Sela.
I'm pretty sure.
Often wrong Sung.
Nice.
Sweet. He's dead, but alright. Another Rasmussen.
Oh.
Nice.
And Jellico.
Oh.
Yo, Jellico.
Ooh. Now
Who else? Who else wrote Rasmussen?
I wrote Rasmussen.
Okay.
You spelled it wrong.
I know.
What goes together here? Sung is dead, so it'd have to be either a prequel or Sung isn't actually dead. Actually, yeah, that's gonna be the answer. Sung's gonna be in. And
I just figured it would be an opportunity to see him at yet another stage of his life that we haven't yet seen.
Or I follow Jake's theory, which if you haven't read it on our Tumblr, Jake has a great theory about Often Wrong Sung on the
that's up
Tumblr,
there.
which is super, super fun. And I
Is
think
it
they
that
have to
he's
do
not
Jellico.
that often wrong?
Jellicoe?
Wait, let me make sure this is what I want to do. Sung and either Rasmussen, Sealer, or Jellicoe. I have an affection for Jellicoe, but do I want him to play with Sung?
I just feel like they would trade dad
I
jokes
feel like
the whole time.
I feel like
It'd be
there's
wonderful.
infinite possibilities for alternate timelines where Jellicoe commands the Enterprise and encounters these people, and how he reacts. Like, what does he do to Rasmus?
Oh
I
man.
think he would literally murder him. Not on my bridge.
Do I have to pick right now, or could you guys start drawing in the meantime?
Wait, the discards aren't going back in, so...
It's true.
Yeah,
But we have to have a final decision by the end of the show.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm happy to give
Yeah,
you...
you'll have to decide before we
So
sign
we'll give you
off.
some more.
Okay.
We'll give you some more time. So stay tuned, folks. Caitlin, why don't you draw?
Okay. That's one. Jesus Christ.
I figured it out.
That's two.
In the meantime, it's
Right.
gonna be Sung and Sela.
Interesting.
Whoa.
Nice.
That's gonna work. That's gonna work great.
Cool.
I want to grab one of Chris's, but I literally can't find them.
They sink to the bottom because he folded them small.
What the fuck?
Well, yeah, I tore the sheets in half before folding them. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. I think I just found
I was
one.
trying to preserve paper.
All right.
We
I
have
got...
so much paper.
Who do I
worry.
have? You fucking asshole!
Yes!
God damn it!
It was my only joke one.
Samuel
I
Clemens.
knew you'd put him in there.
She literally said it. Oh, I got Pulaski.
Yes.
All my other ones were serious.
Oh yes, Leah Brahms. I was hoping someone would put her in because I felt bad that I
I
forgot.
almost did.
And who's Kifa Fajo? Is that the?
He's
Oh,
the guy
the
who-
collector that
he kidnapped Data.
Kidnapped Data. Fuck that.
Who would you Pulaski and Leah Brahms?
Cool.
Nice.
Sorry, I ripped up.
That's fine. He deserves it.
And Samuel Clemens.
Oh wow.
Into confetti.
All right. So
Garbage confetti.
All my other ones were serious. That
I want to see what the other ones are when we're
I got
done.
one.
Because
Felt like a
since we
Chris.
did not check to see what we were all writing,
Yeah.
there are the duplicates. So I'm
Yeah,
curious
yeah,
whether
two
there's other
Rasmussen.
duplicates.
I'm so glad I pulled Pulaski. This makes me so fucking happy.
All right. Oh, looks like I got two Chris's. I didn't realize. Okay, so I have Miles motherfucking O'Brien. I actually wrote that though.
okay.
You
It's not-
were.
it's not
Oh
that-
I
well,
was wondering
fine.
who did that.
I figured it was Chris.
Amanda Rogers.
She was a Q. She's the
Oh, the cute girl.
Oh, I
Yep,
hate
yep,
her.
yep.
Yuck. Sorry, no offense.
Juliana
I read
Tainer. Interesting.
Yes.
Or-
Oh, she would have gone great
Sorry,
with Sung.
Please remind me who that is.
Data's mom.
mother.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Or-
that would have worked really
Or
well.
Hugh.
Oh,
Oh, I
that's-
almost wrote Hugh.
I wrote Hugh, so there's another Hugh in there.
Fuck Hugh.
Oh boy. Okay. Let's see.
Oh, I know what I would do.
I don't have a ton on Amanda. Juliana could be interesting. I'm gonna go Juliana and Hugh.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Because she doesn't know she's a robot.
Yeah. All right. Now, just for fun, let's.
Can we all read some?
Yeah, sure.
Yay.
I'll read a few and then we'll pass it along.
Perfect.
All right. So here's some of the people that were not selected. We're not.
Well, wait a
pulled
minute.
from
Did we
there.
all do 8?
We did.
There's 32. We've pulled 16, so there's 16 left. So we're going to each read 4 bullshit ones.
Great.
All
They
right.
may not be bullshit.
They just weren't picked.
Well,
They just
or,
weren't picked.
well,
All right. So yeah,
Remaining.
these are ones that did not get drawn, and we can lament or celebrate that you did not get them. Alexander.
Yeah,
God.
I almost put him in.
I also considered it.
But it's like I already put
I
Clemens.
can't do justice. I can't do this name justice. Wink, wink. But Kayla, because Justice said Kayla
Does
really
it-
well.
does-
Kalis, that's true, he does.
Um,
We'll give that one to Justice.
another Hugh.
There's the other Hugh.
Oh, wait, that's
Oh
not
no,
even, that's
I
not
did.
my Hugh
I was gonna say
either.
I did write Hugh. Sorry.
So there were 3 Hughs in there.
How many Hughs were there?
At least 3 apparently.
And Lore.
Lore.
I did consider Lore, but
We also didn't get Okona,
Thank God.
darn.
You said you only had one joke one.
Spot,
Aww.
I wrote Spot.
I might have Spot anyway in mine.
Kern,
Which one's that again?
Ah.
Worf's brother,
His real brother.
Oh,
and
okay.
another Hugh.
Everyone loves Hugh.
So wait, does that mean there were 4 Hughs or 3 or?
I
Well,
think
I
there
put
were-
in Hugh.
I did not write Hugh.
Okay, so there were
So-
3
There were
Hughs.
3 Hughs, which is as it should be. Gowron.
Nice.
I wrote
We
Gowron.
did not choose Gowron.
Can I
Sorry,
tell you
brother.
how I looked up Gowron? I wrote crazy-eyed Klingon.
Really? We don't have any Klingons in our picks.
That's true.
Sorry, Klingons. Oh, I'm sad she didn't come up, but I wrote down Countess Regina, Moriarty's wife.
Oh yeah.
No Countess in her bubble. We did not pick Captain Morgan Bateson. Batesman.
Who's that again?
He was
Kelsey
in,
Grammer.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
He was trapped in a time bubble for however long. And we also did not pick Tomalak.
Oh, poor Tomalak.
Doesn't get much respect.
All right, and we also.
Why are there only 3?
Oh, I was gonna say we're missing one.
Did somebody not?
I don't know.
Oh, I considered this as well.
Oh well.
Admiral McCoy.
Oh.
Actually,
that's
so
a good
what I
one.
almost wrote was Scotty because Scotty showed up, but I
Yeah,
didn't.
we know he's alive.
Locarno
Oh,
and
yeah.
Kalar, which I did write, but she's dead. I shouldn't have written her.
She's
right?
pretty dead.
Well, you
Right,
just
then,
said it
people.
earlier.
Oh,
in
all
the-
right. I didn't know if we had.
It doesn't have to take place after the series.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I mean,
There you go.
There we are.
cool. So yeah,
Nice.
so the rules again, you have to include these characters as central, and you have free reign to also include any main characters.
Yep.
And you can make up new characters if you like, if you want.
Mary
Whoa.
Sue it is.
Cool, great.
You're gonna put Batman in yours?
All right, so that's So look forward to that in a few months.
Yeah.
The original Mary Sue was Star Trek.
What?
So the term Mary Sue comes from someone writing a story making fun of self-insert characters who were like too cool and all the main characters befriended them and this and that. So this woman wrote it for a fanzine, which often featured stories actually like that.
But was it I never heard that it was actually self-aware. I thought it was
No, not self-aware, self-insert.
No. But was she making this as a critique of the self-insert character, or was she doing it because she just wanted to she was actually writing a story and inserted herself into the story as a major hero?
No, she was making fun of self-insert
See,
fanfic.
I always heard it the other way.
And it was Lieutenant Mary Sue. If you look up, or you can find the story online. It's like a page long and ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Well, so yeah, look forward to that in a few months. But until then, you can listen to us through the end of TNG. Ooh.
Yikes.
Yeah. Next week, we'll be talking about 2 episodes of the show, Journey's End and
Genesis.
Genesis.
You did it out of
Oh,
order.
that's out of order. Sorry. Genesis and Journey's End.
Oh, God, Genesis.
Journey's End, yeah.
Is Genesis bad?
Oh.
It's just
Oh,
silly. It's
dear.
very silly. It's a silly.
I haven't seen since I was a kid, but I remember the premise, and oh boy.
Just think, having psychic residue causing ghost sightings as the least scientific element in Star Trek so far.
Yeah, no,
this season.
that makes more sense than what we're doing next week.
Yeah, but it's all good. It's all fun. But we will be talking about that next week, not this week. So until then, find us on the internet, on Facebook, search Stardust Hereby. Find us on Twitter, SSHB Podcast, and on Tumblr, also as SSHB Podcast. And you can download our podcast on iTunes and other tune places and on SoundCloud. So do all that. And until then, this has been your Stardust Hereby. My name is Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
Snap into a Slim Jim. Eat me!